Yeah, with way more memory than that on it. But still, yeah, 14 to 1,500 bucks is what's being estimated for this. Now, I'm curious for those out there, you know, is this something that you want to pay for? Is 12 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage worth it to you at that price? To me, it just seems kind of ridiculous to pay that much for a phone when it could get broken. And this is let alone whatever the foldable phone is going to cost. We have no idea on that. And again, it's not 100% this is what the price will be, but it's probably pretty close to it.
It's going to be well over $1,000, pretty much
well
guaranteed.
over $1,000. And let's see, Brian says they misused the acronym ROM. William says two grand, thought maybe it was going to be $2,000. Yeah, what do you think about this, Drew?
I feel like I just couldn't, in good conscience, spend that amount of money on something that's going to be obsolete. Not like obsolete, but they're going to put out a new model in a year, and you're going to have like an old phone that's like, you know, pales in comparison to the new one, and you still paid $1,500 for it.
Still paid $1,500.
Like,
now,
how much better is this phone, really, than my crappy Galaxy S6 that I'm still using? It's still ticking.
wow, that's amazing. I had an S7, and it was starting to fail a little bit. But I mean, if it still works,
mine's still rocking, man.
I am seeing Note 9 is boss. I wonder which side of the line you fall on. On YouTube said worth every penny. So maybe people will be willing to pay it.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be a few people that are willing to pay it.
Part of one of the perks that supposedly they might be offering is if you pre-order, you might get the free Galaxy Buds with them, which are their new earbuds, you know, to try to encourage people to do this. And there's a reservation system that apparently has already started off where you can start reserving. I haven't actually checked this out myself. This is kind of big news, but we'll see.
All right.
So we'll find out more on Wednesday, but all week there's going to be tons of Samsung news and leaks, and we'll find out what's true on Wednesday. But you can follow along at digitaltrends.com. We've got a roundup of everything that we know. There's actually a video that's up on YouTube too. You can watch it, just catch up and be like, here's what everybody says is possibly going to happen. So we've covered all the bases, basically.
All right.
Yeah, then regardless, we can say, yep, we told you. All right, let's go on to our Read 'em and Weep segment, where we take a look at some of the comments and questions that come across all of our different platforms, and we read what you have to say about all kinds of things, whether we believe in it or not. Let's go ahead and get some of these pulled up. And again, we are broadcasting live, so you can drop your comments and questions in here as well, and let us know, since we are live, and let us know what you think. So, Read 'em and Weep, one of our favorite segments. We're getting it pulled up here. It's coming up here in just a second. All right, while we're doing that, I'll read one live comment. Okay, there we go. Denver, okay. Regarding Asus ROG Zephyrus G. All right, just reading this name, I'm thinking maybe Asus needs a little bit of rebranding, but Asus ROG Zephyrus S GX701 review. Great at gaming, but not much else. Please keep making more of these laptops and move this review into the trash. As a gamer, this laptop is perfect. The reviewer needs to go back to their MacBook and stop comparing the two. Wow. I'm not sure where to go there. This reviewer is put this review into the trash. This reviewer needs to go back. So, I mean,
yeah, Luke.
Luke
Larson,
Luke.
how dare you give it a mild rating?
Denver, we will let Luke know right away.
I'm going to pass this along. I'm going to run this up the chain of command.
Yeah,
he needs to know about this.
Denver said it's trash, so we need to get. I will compose an email during the break and make sure that Luke gets that. So, thank you, Denver, for bringing that to our attention. You know, not everybody's going to like the reviews or agree with what the review is. That's why it's a review. We give our opinions. Jeffrey, regarding sleep soreness away with Under Armour recovery sheets on sale. Sleep sort, I'm not sure.
Okay, so I remember this one. This was a story. I think it was a deals post actually. There are these sheets, these high-tech sheets that apparently Tom Brady uses, and they help with like muscle recovery somehow.
Really?
It sounds like it might be junk science, but
yeah, it very well could be.
But I don't know, man. They're probably still pretty sweet bed sheets.
Well, $244. I could agree with what Jeffrey's saying. Damn, I better turn into Tom Brady for that price.
That's true, but come on, man. It's a third of your life. Spend the money.
That's true. Do you spend money? Do you have like a fancy bed or something?
Like really nice, like Egyptian cotton.
Really?
No, not true at all.
Yes.
No, I paid for like a nice like mattress topper thing, but the sheets are just
your canopy bed that you've got. Yeah, all kinds. Yeah. Well, Jeffrey, I mean, I kind of agree with you, but Drew does have a point. It's a third of your life. So I would try these out. I just don't know if I trust Tom Brady on a lot of that. I've read about his
Dude, you just wake up in the morning and start throwing touchdowns.
Well, all right.
Change you.
Maybe it's worth it. That'd be worth $244. Kim Jong-un, big fan of digital trends. Not sure if everybody knew about that. He's got plenty of time on his hands. So,
all right.
Regarding how will 5G change your smartphone and your life in 2019, dude is just a brainless mouthpiece who doesn't know what he is saying and how quickly it will eradicate human society.
5G is going to eradicate human society.
Not Kim Jong-un. It's 5G that's going to do it.
North Korea is going to be fine, man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm glad they've got that figured out. You know, they don't really have anything else going on over there. But so Kim, thanks for letting us know. Dude is just a brainless mouthpiece. Who is it on this video?
I'm not sure who he's talking about on this one.
I can't remember who did this video, but we do have a 5G one. I believe Jake was telling me it's got like over 5,000 comments on it. That was as of last week.
Apparently a pretty contentious topic then.
I mean, it brought the attention of Kim Jong-un, so there it is. All right, well, thank you very much. We'll see if we can get another statement from the North Koreans about 5G. All right, we've got a couple more here to get through. Let's see. Keelan said, "Do these sheets teach you how to be a better cheater?" Oh, Tom Brady one. Nice.
Careful, don't put them on an air mattress because it'll deflate it.
Solid. That was solid. All right, Jason Bitbender Brink. Regarding the NBA just debuted shape-shifting jerseys at All-Star Weekend. We're actually going to be talking about that here in just a couple of minutes. As soon as they can cram advertising on them to monetize the cost, they will be everywhere. Nothing like a State Farm commercial on the back of the guy shooting free throws. I've got a point almost just like that once we get to this segment here in just a second. Jason, yeah, you're not wrong.
So we're coming back around to this
We're coming back around to that one because that's absolutely right. All right, we got one more comment here for Read 'em and Weep. And again, you can drop your comments and questions throughout the week. And every day, we will take a look at them. Mike Murray regarding how to convert DVDs to MP4s or just download the torrents to your hard drive and sell the DVDs. You can even upgrade to 1080p. The internet is a great place. Wait, download the torrents. Okay, so just sell your DVD.
Instead of putting them on a disc, just download them.
Just download them.
And stream them. The guy has a good point. Like, that's one of our old, like, SEO articles, I think, because somehow people are still searching for that.
Still searching how to convert their DVDs into...
Oh, actually, no, yeah, that makes sense. DVDs to MP4. So they're digitizing. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're trying. Or download the torrent. Which
honestly...
never suggest.
I mean, if you already paid for the DVD...
That's true. They got the money.
Yeah, you're not. It's a moral gray area.
Yeah.
You already paid for the movie.
We'll let you decide that. That's what it comes down, yeah, to your conscience on that one. All right, well, anyway, taking a look at all the comments. I want to get back to this NBA side. So the NBA All-Star Game was over this last weekend. And one of the things they did is Commissioner Adam Silver had like a sneak peek at what they... like the future of NBA technology, of the future technology that they're going to use, and how they look at, you know, by 2038, I think was what they were kind of looking at. Some of this could happen sooner, and they showed off a jersey, an NBA jersey, that will change as you're wearing it. So they showed it as changing from a Steph Curry jersey into a Jordan jersey, just
So this is something for fans then, right? Like it's not for like players on the court. Is that what I'm getting? So yeah, it's not like, all right, we're switching you to the other team. All of a sudden they just change their jersey. No, it's
yeah, that's the thing. Like so, there's so many different comments that people came through with this. So yeah, they're showing it so how they could actually digitally change what's written on the jersey, on the clothing.
That's pretty neat.
The idea is actually pretty cool because there's different ramifications. But looking at this for NBA side, and I want to know from everybody watching if you think this is cool or not. One of the things that everybody kept posting is like, this is the greatest thing for bandwagon fans ever. Mid-game, you could just switch which team you root for. And they also, a lot of comments about whether or not Kevin Durant and LeBron James could do this, so that way they could trade themselves in the middle of the game. Just like, oh, they're winning. I'm going to go over to that side now. Joe Vanka's super team right now. But the idea, though, is pretty interesting of what you can actually do with that, like outside of that.
I think the comment earlier was probably spot on. It's just like, yeah, that's going to get bought, you know, buying prime ad space for the guy who's shooting free throws.
Yep,
I can totally see that happening.
Yeah, it changes like halfway through the game. All of a sudden, State Farm, or then we go to Gatorade, or then we go to whatever. Definitely advertisers would go crazy with something like this. But there's also the idea, though, of... you know, you could have like special downloads or something. Like you buy a download code for that jersey, or imagine like at a Timbers game where everybody had synchronized jerseys.
Oh, and you could have like, it'd be like the digital wave. It would just flash colors around. It'd be like, back to North Korea, it'd be like those little flag display things that they do in the stands, except digitally.
Oh man, imagine what they'll do with it. I mean, things like that. Or if they get like hacked. You can hack an entire like opposing fan base, all of their jerseys.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that is kind of terrifying. The idea, though, of clothing that has these digital manipulations on it or somehow is digitally enhanced is not new. There's a bunch of people working on things like that. And I see something like this happening. I mean, I think this, maybe not necessarily, I don't know, the NBA jersey side, okay, whatever. But advertising, definitely they'll do that. But having that kind of clothing incorporated into our normal lives, I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get it.
Real weird, but yeah.
Yeah. Would you wear some digitally enhanced clothing? Like you could change the pattern every day or something?
Oh, absolutely, man. I just keep one on the rack over here in
Yeah.
the studio. Just wear the same shirt every day that I'm on here.
Right. Just every day in life.
All right, what pattern are we going with? We're going with paisley today.
Yeah.
Got plaid tomorrow.
Right. Got my new download code for you know, there's lots of different ways that could work, but I think it's interesting. I do like that the NBA is trying to at least forward think about some of this stuff. You know, whether that comes to fruition or not, even if it's just all about money. At least they're attempting to say like, yeah, tech's going to change what we do. The other things they showed were like holographic mascots, which I don't think anybody needs to see. Portland Trailblazers blaze in a hologram. That's not necessary. But yes, there's some different things, you know, along those lines of what they can do.
Interesting.
So we'll see where it goes. All right, let's go to another topic here as we're walking through some tech headlines. And again, you could drop in your comments and questions as we do this. And so I do want to see those as we go through. This is about drones. This is getting into your territory.
Is it now?
Emerging technology.
All right.
And has to do with the Chula Vista Police Department.
Oh, yeah.
Using first responder drones. So I'll set up what exactly the basic story is here. I already want to know what Drew is going to say. All right, some of the comments that are coming through about the shirts are a little bit harsh. Keelan just said, so like if Greg wears a horrible shirt, he can change it mid-show. Yes, the Technicolor Lumberjack shirt is going to come back, I'll tell you that. And
we could have the viewers vote for what color, and then it would change after we reach like a certain number of votes.
That's a terrible idea.
I think we need to build that technology.
I do not want the internet to decide what I'm wearing. That's not something that should go. All right. So this story, yeah, the Chula Vista Police Department using first responder drones. And so it's a pilot study being carried out by this police department where they have a drone cloud platform called CAPE. And they say that it's contributed to over 20 arrests in a 3-month period. So the way it works is it's part of a program called DFR, which is Drones as a First Response. So when they get a phone call for 911, whatever it is, if it's within a certain radius of miles, that before they can even get police dispatched, there's somebody sitting there at the police station, and they have a drone
they can just zip out
platform that zips out and heads right over there and gets an overall view of the situation of what's going on, and then they can feed that video footage directly to the responding officers and go through there. What do you think about this kind of idea?
Okay, on its face, obviously this is a good thing, right? Like it's great that they can respond quicker, they can see things, and they're making more arrests. Like supposedly this is going to keep us like safer or whatever. Like more power to them. But more than that, dude, we don't need cop drones, man. We really don't. Like it's gonna happen, but I just don't want it to. Because we're safe right now. There's already cameras everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Do we really need them in the skies? And also, do you trust the police with drones?
With drones flying over?
Shooting unarmed teenagers, man. I don't want to give them flying robots. Come on. No.
I mean, you have your points. So obviously it's clear which side of this you stand on. But I think you're right, though. It's going to happen more and more.
I think,
we're going to see more of this.
I started seeing police drones at CES a couple years ago, and just all kinds of crazy prototypes. They're being used.
What are some other ways that they're thinking about using them?
Mostly just for like surveillance of crime scene. First responder stuff is a lot of it. But the thing is, they're baking in like facial recognition technology, and it's just like even more of an invasion of privacy.
Where is the stop?
The thing is, like, it's going to get pushed through under the pretense of, like, yes, it'll make the world safer, but it's also going to make you more surveilled. It's the same thing with, upstream surveillance of the internet. They're like, yeah, we need to monitor everything, so we make sure that no terrorists are doing anything. But then everybody loses their privacy, and the cops can see everything. This is kind of the similar thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, just for everybody who's tuning in, so that's kind of the idea behind it, is that they would send these out, and then, they get a footage of whatever the situation is before the responding officers get there. You're right. This could easily be abused.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the question about all of this technology. I mean, it can all be
That's true. It all does have
everything's
potential.
happening really fast.
Yeah, but it does have some potential for good. So I don't know. I hope it goes in the right direction.
I mean, I don't know whether it ends up being regulated or how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taking a look here at some of the comments. Okay, actually, that's not comments about this so far yet, but Alberto on YouTube just says hablar en español. We have DT Español. We do have a site. We're not that one right now, but we do have digital trends in Spanish. So DTES is available there for that. Yeah. So when it comes down to this, clearly you're against it. I think there's a lot of opinions that can happen about this. We should probably do a podcast about this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just about where this kind of surveillance footage is going. But they're trying this out, and so far they've, of course, loved it. And it sounds like this is going to be probably replicated in other police departments.
Yeah.
As it goes through. Well, a lot to discuss on that. There's a lot of ways that could actually end up going, depending on how that technology is used.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's do a podcast on that.
Yeah, that'll have to happen. Vicky says, Big Brother is always watching. Keelan says, abuse of power coming in 3, 2.
Exactly.
Julian says, fear-mongering. I'm not sure if you meant that for
It's probably talking
Drew's
about
comments.
me.
Probably
Probably.
about you. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some hardcore opinions on either side of that. It's something, though, we do have to address, and so whether it's get regulations in right away, with all of this new technology, regulations need to happen quick.
Government doesn't move fast enough. Pace
No.
of technology moves too quick for it.
Way beyond it.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's such an open discussion about that topic alone of where this is all going to end up. Like everything, all of these new technologies. I mean, they're going to be out there way before people even realize what's happening with them. So that's going on there. Let's move on to another topic. Let's move on to something maybe that's good that's happening right now. So this is another article at Digital Trends, and I kind of pulled some from Drew's Emerging Technologies section, which if you haven't gone there, there's a lot of fun things to read about, and that's at digitaltrends.com. This has to do with, I'm just going to read the title. Photosynthesizing artificial leaf may be the air cleaning tool we've dreamed of. So maybe do you know enough about this?
You go for it.
Okay, I'll give the basic
Yeah.
premise of this. So it comes from engineers at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And they've invented, I mean, basically that. It's a giant fake leaf. But what it can do is it can take in carbon dioxide. It can convert carbon dioxide via the process of photosynthesis. So it's working like a real leaf, just 10 times more efficient than an actual leaf in nature. And the results could clean up our air and provide a cost-effective type of fuel. So what it can do is it takes that in, it uses sunlight to help with this, just like actual photosynthesis. Takes in the carbon dioxide. They've actually got stomata in this thing, so it's actually set up to work like a leaf. They can breathe, they take it in, and then they put back out oxygen and water. So, which is good. It's
Yeah.
cleaning the air around. And they're talking about using these as a large-scale capture and conversion of carbon dioxide to potentially, counteract pollutants.
Yeah, so this is kind of, artificial photosynthesis is kind of like the holy grail of like engineering. Like they've been trying to do this for so long, and we're finally getting to a point where, they're actually developing these artificial leaf little things.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't look anything like leaves.
Right.
But yeah, it's
but
really
the
exciting.
process is the same.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that we've actually reached a point where we are making leaves and we've improved a process that like came from nature, like photosynthesis. Right. Like the whole reason that there are plants and like animal life all over the world right
Yeah.
now. We've made that better.
Right.
But the only problem, of course, is it's really hard to deploy on like a large scale because it just takes. You can't just plant a seed and grow a tree. Like nature's got the production part figured down way better than we do. So
yeah.
I wouldn't expect this to start changing the world like right away. It's gonna be a bit more until we figure out how to deploy this at a huge scale, like the scale that we need to.
Right, which would be, I mean, a lot of them, obviously.
Yes.
But some of the things they noted were, having approximately 360 leaves, each one 1.7 meters in length by 0.2 meters wide, in a 500-meter square area could produce 0.4 tons of carbon monoxide per day. So they can save this, and what they're saying right now is the cost per ton is $185, but the market price right now is $650 for carbon. So it could save a lot of money.
Interesting.
By deploying these, and I think that's probably where the most important side will come, is if there's a cost benefit to it.
Yeah, totally. As soon as you hit that tipping point, then it's off to the races. If it's cheaper than other methods, then yeah, go for it.
Yeah, and it may be a little while until we get something out like this, but I do love the idea of this kind of technology, changing the way we think about I mean, rethinking nature and what nature does best. I mean, like, yeah, okay, let's just bump that up a little bit. Maybe we can solve some of the other problems that we've created.
And really, we need all of the help we can get for fighting climate change and getting the atmosphere back on track and all of that. So, you know, I'm all for all these artificial nature-inspired technologies.
There's good technology and there's bad technology, and there's how you use the technology. So there's all kinds of different ways we can think about this. But that's what the fun part about Digital Trends Live is. We bring up all of these conversation points, and then we talk about it with you live. And we are broadcasting live. We're here in Portland, Oregon, and we're going to go to a quick break here in just a second, because then we're going to come back and head to our New York studio. We're going to be joined by Editor-in-Chief Jeremy Kaplan and Lindsay McCormick, somebody who is using technology to rethink how we're doing things and try to make things better. And so we're going to have a really interesting discussion with her about that. Drew, thank you for joining today.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Always fun. Lots to talk about. Let us know your comments and questions as we go through the show. And afterward, you can always drop those on there, as evidenced by Read 'em and Weep. We do read the comments here at Digital Trends. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Greg Nibbler. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a second with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Keep dropping in your comments and questions there as we do go through live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and one of the things that we really love exploring here at Digital Trends is basically tech for good. Tech that rethinks things that we're normally doing, things that we've become so accustomed to, and trying to make things better. And our next guest, we're going to be heading to our New York studio, is the CEO of a company called Byte. And what I've got right here, right here, could be the future of toothpaste. And we're going to have her explain how it all works. It's a really, really neat idea, and we're really excited to talk about this, but it's just essentially helping to clean up and use less toothpaste tubes that we go through, something that a lot of us hadn't thought about. So let's go ahead and head over to New York right now. We're going to be joined by our Editor-in-Chief, Jeremy Kaplan, and the CEO and founder of Byte, Lindsay McCormick. Hello, Jeremy.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. You see, I have the exact same vial right here that you have. And what it is a replacement for the waste you don't think about in your life. The billion tubes of toothpaste that get thrown out every year. What is up with that? As soon as you say it, you're like, why is toothpaste even in a tube? It's the worst possible mechanism for delivering a product ever. And so we have...
I totally agree.
Lindsay McCormick has solved this problem for us. Lindsay, the CEO, co-founder of Byte, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's so fun to be here.
Tell me what we're looking at here. It looks like a bottle of aspirin, perhaps.
So these are Byte toothpaste tablets. They are all natural. They're made with all natural ingredients, pressed into a tiny, dry tablet and sold in glass bottles. So you're supposed to keep the bottle and then refill it with our compostable refill packet, making this whole process zero waste.
So instead of a tube of toothpaste, we have little capsules of
little
toothpaste.
capsules, and we've taken the water out so we don't have to use harsh preservatives, harsh chemicals. There's nothing in here. Like if you flip over the back of a toothpaste tube, you're going to see a bunch of stuff like sodium lauryl sulfate, triclosan,
I don't know what any of that is.
All these things that shouldn't be going in you. You know, we don't know what they are.
Even
They shouldn't be going in our bodies, but we're using it twice a day, every day in our mouths. And if you think about it, I feel like I didn't make the connection until I was like, wait a minute, you can take medicine by putting it under your tongue, but here I am using toothpaste and I have no idea what's in it, and it's under my tongue. So I wanted to come up with something that had healthy ingredients made from sustainable natural sources that we could also effectively clean our teeth with.
So walk me through, if you can, a little bit of the history of toothpaste, because you were talking to me about this before. Of course, it started as a powder, right?
Yeah.
How did we get from powder into this clunky aluminum plastic tube thing?
I mean, I think it's a good question, and I think it was all well-intended, right? It started with toothpaste powder, and then it was in tins, and then I feel like we had this brilliant idea like 50 years ago, like let's add water to this and glycerin in it, and it's all silky and smooth, and we can put it in these newfangled, material plastic, which was supposed to save the world and be so convenient, and you can just have it. And then turns out here we are 50 years later being like, what have we done? Like, we are drowning in plastic. It does not go away. And now we have to think of new innovative solutions that are as convenient as plastic, but not as harmful to the environment.
Every day you think about the uses of plastic, and there's another terrible thing we've decided, like Tupperware. Oh, well, let's put all our food in Tupperware and microwave it to warm it up. What are we doing to ourselves?
Yep, that's it. We are sometimes our own worst enemy, and the earth as well.
So walk me through a little bit of the history of this, too. You started making this product in your own home, and you're obviously a chemistry engineer, super science nerd, brain math person.
Not quite, but I did take a lot of open source online chemistry classes. So I've always been obsessed with sustainability and ingredients, and I was traveling all the time for work.
I'm going to try this out while you
Yes,
explain, by the way.
please.
I'm brushing my teeth right here.
I was using these tiny little toothpaste tubes, and I was throwing them out, and I just realized these are like sitting in a landfill somewhere. Oh, I'm so excited. Yes. Easy as that.
How about that?
Brush, repeat. That's it. It foams up. It's a natural foaming agent.
Nice.
Yeah. There's no sodium lauryl sulfates in there. There's no parabens, no sulfates. And yeah, it's minty fresh. We use organic mint flavoring inside of it, and our base is dicalcium phosphate, xylitol, and erythritol, which have been used in oral care for decades. So, what do you think?
The erythritol really comes through.
Yeah.
It's got a nice aftertaste, too. I don't know what any of those things are, but it works perfectly.
It's a high-quality erythritol. Yeah, so I wanted to come up with an alternative to throwing things out in landfills, and I started looking into the alternatives on the market, but I didn't like their ingredients. I didn't like that they were packaged in plastic, so I started making my own. I talked to every dentist and dental hygienist who would give me the time of day. I read every study I could find from all over the world, and I took those online open source chemistry classes to try to teach myself, and I ended up making up this formula in my living room on a machine that I had ordered online, and that's what we use today. So,
okay, fascinating, first of all, and amazing. I'm impressed by not just your ingenuity, but perspicacity in actually making something like that happen. We review a lot of Kickstarter products. We talk about a lot of Kickstarter projects, Indiegogo too, crowdsource things. And what's interesting, a lot of people have a lot of great ideas, but the challenges people always come across is, how do I actually turn this idea into a thing?
Yeah.
So, like, it looks like a simple little thing, a glass vial, a label, a pill inside of it, a capsule.
It's simple, right? It's
simple. But it's not so easy, right? Actually making a thing.
It was a lot, like so much research. You have to source your ingredients, and then even, when the exciting thing of being able to move out of your living room, it's like now you have to find a manufacturer. You have to vet your manufacturer.
You were making these in your living room.
I was making these in my living room. Yep, absolutely. And now they're being made in like a fully FDA compliant, like real big time laboratory. But I had to make sure, are they cruelty free? Will they use sustainable practices? Will they use the ingredients that I've sourced? And so it's, when you're making something physical, it's so cool because you have it after it. But it's also like, it's your blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. And I think that, like, for me, and everyone will find their own like journey to stick with it, but it, like, no matter all the late nights and all the things that didn't work, like, once you do one thing, you've like invested your time and money, so you have that, what is it, the sunk cost fallacy, where you're like, well, I can't give up now, like I have to keep doing it. But then I would also watch like Plastic Ocean or a documentary, and I would just be like, oh my God, okay, whatever, I don't need to sleep tonight. I will continue to work on this today, And so I think you have to find your own motivators as well.
So if someone wants to buy your blood, sweat, and tears, what's the best way for them to get it?
BiteToothpasteBits.com or Bite Toothpaste. It'll redirect you to BiteToothpasteBits.com. We're online.
So, okay, I don't know if you've given thought to this yet, but what's next in the line? If you've saved us from disposable toothpaste tubes, or is shampoo bottles the next big thing?
There's so much. That's the exciting thing. I think what we want to do is we want to keep on doing this, and we want to be the best at it, and then we kind of want to move in small little concentric circles out. So maybe something else in oral care, and then maybe something else in sustainable personal care. But I think if there's something that we can be innovative and solve a hard and important problem, I'm super interested in it.
I love this. And as Greg mentioned earlier, one of the things that we're talking about here at Digital Trends is tech for good, because there's this narrative I feel going on in the world at large, in the news, about the problems with technology companies, with scientists, with innovators. We've got privacy concerns from Facebook. We've got companies using your data for ill will. and yet there's all this great innovation and change and transformative ideas coming around. I just love that something like this exists.
I totally agree, and thanks. And I think it really just shows the amount of power customers have, because brands like mine can't exist unless people buy it, right? And so when people go out and they find these small businesses and they support us and they buy our products, it helps these small businesses really stay tuned to like what we're trying to do and our mission, and still find customers for that. So I think it really shows that people want something better.
And I think we see a lot of demand for this kind of a thing as well, especially from millennials and younger audiences who are saying, I don't necessarily identify with some of the giant manufacturing conglomerates that want to sell me products, but something like this, where there's a story and there's somebody's put their blood, sweat, and tears into making something better. I think that really resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that we're really, as a society, we're really waking up. We're really questioning, like, what are we putting into our bodies and what impact does it have on the planet? And I think that we're demanding more transparency in companies. And it's like, to be a small business, as long as our business aligns with what other people are hoping for too, it gives us like a chance even in these very saturated markets.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, you saw it here first. Bite, little capsules that have replaced the toothpaste tube, saving us from all that waste, and frankly, they taste great.
Thanks so much,
Especially
Jeremy.
What was the chemical?
Xylitol, erythritol,
Xylitol.
and organic mint flavoring.
That stuff. We're going to cut away for a quick break. When we come back, we'll have reviews of some of the hottest new digital cameras coming right at you. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Keep dropping those comments and questions in there as we go through the show. We really do appreciate that. We can take feedback and especially, like I said, questions. If you have them, ask them, and I will ask our next guest. I'm Greg Nibbler, and we're joined now by Davin Matthews. Sorry. Davin Matthews. I know, right? One of our editors of photography here at Digital Trends, and you have brought in some actual toys for us to look at today.
we have stuff to play with today, which is cool.
Fantastic.
So I've got two cameras with me that were both officially announced last week. And I just thought they sent them to me both on the same day, so I was like, well, let's bring them in and talk about what these are doing, because
that's got to be a fun job, getting like two brand new cameras.
Yeah, it
the
is.
Same day.
Sometimes it's so like I use one camera to take product photos of the other camera. It's just it's so great. So what I'll start with is that this is the Canon EOS RP, and what's really exciting about this camera is this is the most affordable full frame camera that's ever been released. So in terms of its new starting price, this is the lowest there's ever been. There are some older models that are cheaper from Sony, but in terms of a new camera coming out, this is $1,300 for the camera body, and that's the cheapest we've ever had a full frame camera. So when I say full frame, in case that's not a term you're familiar with, that refers to the actual size of the imaging sensor, and because these are mirrorless, we can actually take off the lenses and see the sensors underneath.
Wow. So you're kind of comparing them side by side.
Yeah, so as you can see, the size difference is fairly significant.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that contributes to image quality. Let me see if I can catch the light there.
Oh yeah, you can see it
there we
reflecting
go.
off of that.
Can I get it? No, so close.
Wow, you're pretty close to it. That was pretty good for on the fly.
But yeah, so the sensor tends to be the thing that drives the price of the camera up the most, you know, in terms of the technology that's inside it. So typically, a full frame camera, a full frame mirrorless camera, before now started around $2,000. So they brought that price down $700.
That's a big difference.
which is huge. So I think that's
what's the biggest difference to be able to bring that price down that much?
well, a lot of it is that they have really focused on sort of kind of like simplifying the user interface and then just kind of taking out features, which is one of the interesting things here. So this is not a full frame camera. This is what we'd call APS-C. But this camera is about $900 for the body. But it actually has a lot of features in it that are going to be more advanced than what's in the Canon.
So well, and let's get into that Fujifilm 2 here in a second. But right now, just to clarify for everybody looking, this is the Canon EOS RP?
Yes.
Correct. And so this is the brand new one. $1,300.
Yep, we've got a hands-on on this. I was fortunate enough to go out 2 weeks ago. They brought out Canon brought out a bunch of press to New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
So I was fortunate to shoot it there. So we do have a hands-on on this on Digital Trends now. This I have not been able to shoot with
That's the
yet.
brand new
I
one.
just got it this weekend. Yeah, so this guy, it's one of those products that's like, it's not super exciting for someone like me because there's not really any new technology in it. Like, I equate it if you go into like becoming a car reviewer, you don't do that to review a Toyota Camry. Like that's not what you look forward to. And that's kind of what this is. Like this is a camera that a lot of people will buy and a lot of people will really enjoy it. There's not a ton of new technology to talk about.
If you're at high end,
right,
then that's not what you're going to probably go for. But for the average user, if you want to get into this kind of photography,
I think it'll be fantastic. So I think the biggest negative I see right now is that when Canon introduced this EOS R system, this is their mirrorless system as opposed to their DSLRs. When they introduced it, everything was very high end. So all the lenses they came out with were these super expensive lenses, and that's still kind of the issue. Is they have this low-cost body. They don't have a lot of low-cost lenses. This is the kit lens for the camera, and if you were to buy this right now, I believe this is $21.99
for the
lens. It's either $2,100 or $2,200 for this kit. So that increases the cost pretty significantly.
Yeah.
They are working on one cheaper zoom lens, and then they do have the way.
Does it come with one just when you buy it?
Not if you buy the body only. So that $1,300 price, that's just the camera body. Now you can adapt. If you're a current Canon DSLR owner, you can adapt your lenses to this. So I think that's what a lot of people will do in the beginning.
But if you're just going out there wanting to get into this, don't expect to pay $1,300 to be ready to go out and shoot.
Right, exactly. Yeah. The way I prefer to shoot it is with this lens. This is a 35mm prime. It's really small, really lightweight. When you have this on here, it's a perfect setup for street photography or just doing any sort of like close range photography. I love this.
Yeah.
Canon doesn't currently have any other like compact lenses like this for this system, which is a real missed opportunity. So I
would especially think so if they're going for like a lower end entry point.
Right, and especially if you're shooting mirrorless, you kind of I like having a smaller compact system, and that you don't get that with lenses like this. So I hope they do bring out more compact primes like this for the system, because this is an absolutely fantastic camera to walk around with as it is like this.
Nice, and that's again the Canon EOS RP.
Yep.
You can check out digitaltrends.com. Full review of that one is up, so you can take a look at it. And so we've got two cameras today,
like,
and if you have questions, If you have questions about these cameras too, drop those in there. Drop them in our comments section for whatever platform you're watching on, and we can ask Devin right now. So but we have that one. And then you got another one over this weekend.
Yeah.
You just got this.
So this is the X-T30. It is sort of the slimmed down version of Fuji's X-T3, which is like their higher end kind of flagship professional camera. And what's interesting is Fuji's approach is completely the opposite of Canon, so they've really left in as many features as possible.
Really?
As they have in the high-end camera. It's a smaller body. It's not weather resistant like the X-T3 is, but you still have really good 4K video. You've got the same sensor, the same processor as they have in the X-T3, so it's very good image quality.
You're not losing anything on the tech side.
You're not losing very much on the tech side. Same autofocus system. But yeah, this is $900 for the body. The kit started $1,000, so they have a cheap kit lens, unlike Canon. Again, compared to the X-T3, which starts at $1,500 right now, I believe. So that's a big price difference for not a lot of tech difference, which is really cool. And I think, one of the reasons people love Fujifilm cameras is they still look like old classic film cameras. And you've got a lot of physical dials, you got a lot of stuff you can play with. I really enjoy that.
You have the bells and whistles, the fun things.
But you've also got a lot of high tech inside of it, which is really cool. So yeah, it's kind of different approaches to creating lower cost versions of cameras.
Yeah.
You get the full frame sensor here. You don't get a lot of features. Here you don't have a full frame sensor, but you've got a ton of features, especially for the price.
Yeah. So out of these two, so what was the cost again for the setup of say of what you have right here?
Yeah. So this, if you were to do this body, only $1,300 versus $900. I think this lens is $500, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think it's $499, $500.
Somewhere around there.
If you're going to get this kit, you can get this and this for $2,200, I believe, or $2,100.
Okay.
Whereas this, you're looking at $900 body, $1,000 kit with their basic zoom lens. This is actually a new lens they announced at the same time. This is a 16mm f2.8 wide-angle lens.
Okay.
So I think this runs about $400 or $500 as well.
So,
so that's not a
the
kit
same
option.
As this lens here. Okay.
But yeah, it's.
Now, out of the two of these, which would you prefer to use yourself, or do you have any preferences? Opinions on these?
I'm biased. Okay, I'll
right.
be upfront about this.
Hey, no, you're our expert. Tell us what your bias.
No, I shoot a Fuji. My primary camera is a Fujifilm X-T2, so it's an older generation of their higher end model.
X-T3. Yeah.
I really like it. All of my product photos from my camera reviews are shot on that. All of my YouTube videos are shot on it. So yeah, I would kind of lean toward this. Again, for me, one of the things I like about mirrorless is the size advantage.
Yeah.
This is actually the lightest full frame camera there is currently, as far as I can tell. I tried to find specs on all the other competing models. This is lighter by 5-6 ounces, something like that.
Wow, that's a huge
which is actually, it's a big difference in, this camera weighs 17 ounces, but still this is lighter. Yeah. The lenses are going to be smaller because when you have a larger sensor, you need larger lenses to cover that frame. So yeah, I tend to lean toward the Fujifilm system because they're focused on the smaller format. All of their lenses are specifically designed for that format. And so yeah, it makes it more compact. The image quality is still great. Now the one thing you definitely get with a larger sensor, you get better low light performance.
Okay.
So if you shoot a lot indoors, then you might definitely see an advantage from that larger sensor. That's going to be probably the primary advantage.
Okay.
There are some other smaller image quality advantages there as well. And if you shoot video at all, this is not the camera for you.
The Canon is not the camera
yeah, that's
for
not
video.
it's not a good video camera. That's one area where they really cut. It does technically shoot 4K, but it shoots from a cropped region of the sensor.
Oh,
so
really?
It's a much smaller region. They have a really good autofocus system in this camera, what Canon calls dual pixel autofocus. Works beautifully for everything except 4K video. It does not enable it in 4K.
That's what they scaled back on this.
Yeah.
That's what especially now with 4K video. I would think if you're going to buy a camera now and you're going into this price range, you'd want to have 4K.
Yeah, I think that that is one area where, you know, I wish they had done more. But I have heard from people who've just like commented on my Instagram account and stuff and said, I don't care about the video, you know, like how is it as a stills camera? And yeah, it's pretty,
Maybe that's
like for the price, it's absolutely amazing for that. So, but I think, you know, even some of the Canon reps I was talking to at this event were like, oh yeah, they're never going to do like super good video on that level because they don't want to cannibalize their cinema camera sales. So Canon has a cinema division. Fujifilm does not. Well, they do make cinema lenses actually, which are quite nice, but you know, they don't make video-specific cameras, so they can kind of do whatever they want.
They can throw
They're not worried about cannibalizing some of the product line.
That's interesting that it really is just to not cannibalize their own product line. Yeah. You know, that seems like a weird way to go about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's we're talking again. That's the Canon EOS RP, and then the Fuji XT30.
Yes.
XT30 is what we're looking at right there. And so with that one, you get 4K video. So video shooting is pretty good on that.
It's actually quite good. And if you want to output, this is going to get a little like technical pro high-end here, but if you want to output over HDMI into an external recorder, this will actually do a 10-bit 422 signal, which is just as good as what the XT3 will do, which is pretty amazing. So it can't do 10-bit internally, but if you have like an Atomos Ninja 5 external recorder, which are pretty popular now with people shooting video on mirrorless cameras, you can get a really high quality file out of that, which is super impressive, I think, A, for a Fuji, because until a couple of years ago, they were terrible at video, and then B, you know, it's a $900 camera body again. So I think you definitely get a lot of value out of it if you're a sort of hybrid still photo and video shooter.
Fantastic. Well, that's the Fuji XT30. So that's the other one that we're looking at. And since you just got this, where do you go to review these? Like, what do you do? What's your process to review a camera like this?
It kind of depends. So I will be. Actually, I have to send this back tomorrow. So this, I'll probably walk around town after lunch and shoot with it as much as I can. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a full review based on that. So hopefully we'll get another unit in to do a full review later. But yeah, for the hands-on, look for a lot.
Do you have like a regimen that you typically do? Like I got to shoot in low light.
Yeah, some things. So we do try to do, you know, we do a high ISO test. And that's probably our most like technical test. And then I just try to get in, you know, we always look for real world situations.
Yeah,
like how
somebody's
is
actually going to use it.
Right, so we don't do lab tests like some sites out there will do. We might reference those because we're not going to do our own. But I do try to get in a variety of images that show off what a sensor can do. So whether that's a landscape, a portrait, so we try to show dynamic range, we try to show color. I live in the Columbia River Gorge, so there's a lot of great landscape opportunities out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it's just whatever friends are available to shoot and model for me.
I'm going to take a picture of you right now. Well, I love it that, you know, you're doing that focus from, you know, what an average person is going to utilize with it.
Yeah, and I think particularly when you're talking about these more lower-end entry-level models, I really want to see how that's going to. You know, we look at how the camera behaves, not just the results you get from it. So what's it like to actually use this?
In real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're out there. Well, this review, so the Canon review is up there right now. The Fuji one will be up there at some point, but you just kind of got a review right now on it as we're just walking through this. And you mentioned your Instagram page. Where can people follow you?
So you can follow all my camera stuff is at the Shutter Angle. So that's my Twitter and my Instagram. My personal Instagram is Davin Mathis, D-A-V-N-M-A-T-H-S. Took out some vowels to be cool. But yeah, at the Shutter Angle is probably the best way to keep on top of all the camera coverage. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Davin, thank you so much for coming in here to show this stuff off, because it's always fun to see what the new products are that you get.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
All right,
we'll be back.
Pay attention to see what he takes a picture of today. That'll be up there. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into Digital Trends Live. So every day we're here, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you all kinds of tech headlines and stories. At the beginning of the show, we were talking about the Samsung S10 Plus leaks. get ready for a whole week of that stuff. Until Wednesday at the Samsung Unpacked event, it's going to be constant Samsung rumors, but we'll keep you up to date on that. We do have an article at digitaltrends.com. You can go there and take a look at that. Then we had Lindsay McCormick over in our New York studio with Jeremy Kaplan talking about Bite, rethinking the way we use toothpaste and trying to scale down how much waste goes into that with tubes. Really interesting conversation, and just about being an entrepreneur and trying to figure out how to bring a product to market. So we had her on the show, and of course Davin right in here right now talking about different photography things, especially these 2 new cameras. Lots to talk about with that. A couple of notes just coming up tomorrow. We've got Mark Escapa, CEO of Noken, who has a unique travel app. We're going to talk about travel and how he's kind of using an algorithm to help kind of figure out where you want to go. It's a really interesting product. We've got Atif Siddiqui, CEO of Branch, the industry's leading operations platform for hourly employees. So we're going to have Atif on the show actually tomorrow, so we'll be talking to him as well. Wednesday, I want to remind everybody, we've got Terry Fader, winner of America's Got Talent, and as I saw in the paper, $100 million man in Vegas. So Terry's going to be on the show. He's going to be in our New York studio. We'll have him here. Lots of stuff to talk about this week, and all while broadcasting live with everyone here. So please hit subscribe wherever you're finding us. Make sure you get that notification when we do go live. Follow digitaltrends.com all day long for the latest in tech news, and we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Digital Trends Live.